I'm not gonna lie, boys. These German fans are pissing me off. Hello, everyone. Welcome to BayernNow, the ultimate Bayern Munich fan channel. All right, boys. Germany just got cooked. I was watching that a little bit before this. Something's in my eye. Lucas Hernandez. That's what we're going to be talking about. Some other Bayern news. Flick, man, his last 16 games with Germany. I don't think my man has won. But let's be real here. The German national team in general sucks. And those boys are letting Flick down. That's why these German fans are pissing me off. Because Flick is probably the best they can get right now. And one of the best managers they can get, and they still suck. Because Germany as a country, a footballing country, not a country in general, because Germany is a nice country, but Germany as a footballing country has declined drastically. Their academies are failing. Schalke is not producing players like they used to. Germany used to have a luxury of players. Philipp Lahm at right back, Bastian Schweinsteiger in midfield, prime Marco Reus. They used to have Reus on the bench in some games. And now look at Germany. Benjamin Henrichs, Klostermann. They used to have Boateng at center back with prime Matt Hummels. Now they're settling for Niklas Süle and Rudiger and Schlotterbeck. Schlotterbeck is good, but he ain't prime Hummels. He ain't prime Boateng. Boateng was one of the best center backs in the world. So before all these Germany fans start going at Flick, add some context. Your team is doo-doo. You suck. Y'all are not good anymore. And look, I'm trying to care, but I really don't care about the German national team. There's people that are like, but the Bayern players, so? I'm not German. I don't care. The Bayern players play for guess who? Bayern. That has nothing to do with me. Not my business. But, boys, we're talking about Lucas Hernandez because I've been putting it off because I don't want to get canceled. Because the things I'm about to say about Lucas are going to make some of y'all go, wow, I didn't know he had that in him. Lucas Hernandez is a snake. Garden of Eve or Garden of Eden. He was there convincing Eve to disobey God. Lucas Hernandez is a big fat snake. That man is ungrateful. Look, we gave you our best years, Lucas. We gave you some of the best moments of your career. And you didn't give nothing back to us. You're a hoe, Lucas. Lucas Hernandez is a hoe. This man is a snake of the highest accord. You got injured time and time and time again. You were on your period every time we met up with you. And now what? Are you just going to leave us? We were with you in your bloody days. And now you just going to leave us? Nah. That's some hoe activity. This man was on his this woman, let's just call him a woman for the sake of the joke, was on his menstrual cycle every time we talked to him. Every time. Every single time. I kid you not. Our man was on his period. We were eating up all that blood. And that sounds weird. And now this is what he's doing to us. He's leaving us for money to Paris Saint-Germain. Getting that. I hope it's worth it. I hope it's worth it, Lucas. I don't care. There's not a single justification for what Lucas is doing. We gave this man a whole career off of sitting on our physio bench. Every game he was injured. He played like 30% of the available minutes. I'm sure there's a stat about that somewhere. No iconic moments at Bayern. Oh, that one game versus PSG. Did we do anything after that? No. We actually lost that tie. Lost both games. Oh, no, we drew one and won the other. But I think PSG, no, we lost at home, won away. It doesn't matter now, does it? Because we never really achieved anything greater, like in terms of that season. Yeah, Oh, but the Champions League. Nope. He didn't win the Champions League with us. Lucas Hernandez was injured for a majority of that campaign. It was a back line of David Alaba. I think Lucas was on the bench. It was Alaba, Boateng, Pavard, and then he got injured. And then it was Kimmich at right back in our Champions League campaign, at least the most important parts. And then it was Davies at left back. Some people are saying, oh, sell Davies because his agent is clearly saying statements that suggest he might be interested in a move out of Bayern, which, by the way, Davies is probably going to stay here for years to come. His agent is just driving up his value so Bayern pay up. He wants that agent's fee when he renews his contract, or if they can't do that, then sell him and get an agent's fee when you initiate the transfer. I think Davies just wants a big contract because this is going to be the second biggest contract of his career. It might as well be a big one because he's going to stay here for the duration of the term in his next contract, whether that's 5 years or whatever. So, but there's people saying Davies should get sold for just suggesting that he has options. Not even Davies, his agent, which, by the way, it's the same thing because the agent speaks for the player. The player says things and the agent says them. The agent isn't just representing himself. In some cases, that's true, but I think Davies is telling his agent, get me a good deal. And his agent's like, all right, you want a good deal? We got to act like we're interested in moving. Madrid just lost Benzema. You think they're worried about a left back? No, they want Mbappe. They're going to be focused on that. So they're not really trying to go in for Davies. If they were, we would be hearing news stories about Madrid initiating talks with Bayern because Madrid are a professional club. They would be respectful enough to know we got to talk to Bayern before we talk to their wife. Davies is our wife. Madrid would be going behind our back. And we're friendly with Real Madrid. We're not friends because we're rivals, but we're friendly with them because there's an understanding that game recognizes game. But I'm pissed off. There's people saying, yeah, let's get rid of Davies for that reason. But Lucas Hernandez, no, let's try and keep him. Let's pay. Nah, I don't care. Lothar Matthäus is absolutely correct. Sell him. If you ain't trying to be here, sell you. Get out of here. Look, let's sign Kim Min-jae, Lucas Hernandez. You are a hoe. You're dead to me. I'll tell my kids you were a snake. I'll tell my kids that. Thoughts on Gravenberch wanting to leave? Well, look, can you blame him? This guy was a starter at Ajax. We signed him and barely played him. And only towards the end of this season we played him. And the man's progress has regressed. If Liverpool came in for you, see, everyone likes to believe players want to stay here because we're Bayern and they should want to stay here. But can we just add context here? Let's add some context. Whoa. Alejandro, bro, he's not a real journalist. This ain't no real journalist. Apparently, Chelsea offered $60 million for Tchouaméni, but was turned down. Now they're thinking of raising the bid. An interesting amount that Madrid could think of. Yo, if we could sign Tchouaméni, nah. For $150 million, I'd take Tchouaméni because he is a generational DM. The man is good on the ball. He is a defensive genius. You solve that DM problem for literally 15 years if things go right. And then if he doesn't work out, you sell him for $100 million. Tchouaméni is that guy. So if y'all are trying to do that, come on, man. Hey, by the way, Sadio Mané looks like he scored a nice goal against Brazil. Like W for Mané. I like, hey, that's good news because the Qataris could come in, or no, the Saudis could come in, sign Habibi Sadio, get him off our hands. You know, he's a Muslim man, you know. Sign Habibi Mané, please. Y'all are looking at everyone else but Mané. You know, offer for you, my friend, we will do 300 million, but for everyone else, 400 million. But you are my friend, so 300. Right? Like Saudis, man. Come on. Just offer for Mané. Like, test the waters a little bit. It would really hurt Bayern's reputation if we lose Mané. Like, wouldn't it hurt us, chat? Chat, like, tell us on a scale of 1 to 10 how much it would hurt us to lose Sadio Mané. Please. Like, tell the Saudis just how important Mané is to our team, because he is super duper duper important. Like, he just scored a goal against Brazil. Like, if he's scoring against Brazil, he'll be scoring against Al Kikal and Al Hilal and Al Jazer and Al Nasser. Bro, he's going to be scoring against all the Al's. So, like, realistically, he's the best player in the world. Think about it. If you're scoring against Brazil, are you not the best player in the world? He scored against Eder Militao. Eder Militao plays for Real Madrid. Mané just scored against Real Madrid, and he scored a brace by the looks of it. He scored twice. So, like, what are y'all saying in the Middle East? Are y'all not, like, rocking with Mané? He scored a beautiful goal. So, and he's only 30. Chat, Mané's only 30. Are the Saudis going to pass up this opportunity to get a young, excellent black Muslim? Are y'all going to pass up? And the marketability, he is a superstar. Please, sign Mané, man. Y'all are offering money for anyone. All these bummy players when you could get the best of the best. Sign Mané. Take him off our hands. It would hurt Bayern irreparably if we lose Sadio Mané. It would have an indelible change at this club if we lose Sadio Mané. Please. Please offer for Bonasar. Another Muslim. Come on. Y'all are looking at everyone else about our players. They're looking at Man City players, Mahrez, Ziyech. Dog. Honestly, Saudi's racist if they don't sign one dark skin. Think about it, Benzema, Ziyech. I'm seeing, oh, shoot, they're signing Koulibaly and Kante. Never mind. Saudi, I love you. Please just sign these bums. I mean, these great world-class players. Mané would cook, though, in that league. Would he not cook, chat? Anyways, boys. Oh, I got a message here. Okay. All right. Let's mark this as read. I'm sorry. I just get messages in between streams, between shows. We will not sign with Mané. See, Yazan, like, free Top G, they're saying. Yeah, free my man. He ain't doing nothing wrong. Do you genuinely want Kyle Walker? I'm not so sure about that, man. I'm not so sure. I mean, yesterday I was talking about our right back options, that we'd only have Mazraoui, but that was a lie. We would have Stanisic as well. We would. I just saw a story pop up. Might be breaking news. Something about Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker to Bayern is fairly advanced, and this is from Sam Lee, a correspondent for The Athletic. Reports of him extending his City contract are not quite true, so we might be getting Walker. I ain't gonna lie, man. I don't know. I don't know. Kyle Walker, I guess he's a great option to have. I guess, yeah. If you have a game against Mbappe, you just put Walker in there and he might cook. Who knows? Dang. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. This club is declining. We used to be pulling everyone. Like, we were pulling 10s, and now we're struggling with Lizzos. Lizzos are out here rejecting us. How can Kane say no to Bayern? We're not them anymore, man. A few exits in the quarterfinals, and people are doubting our pull. Nah, chat. We're not cooking. Apparently, Ronaldo scored a goal. Yeah, this man. Oh, my God. Bruh, did he almost get injured jumping to do the suit? Yeah, nah. You're past it, bro. No, bro. Stop. Oh, and Nkunku got announced for Chelsea. I'm not going to lie. I like Nkunku. His character. So he left PSG because he wasn't getting a chance. which makes sense. You're a young player, you need your chance. And he wasn't so young anymore. He needed something to develop in his game. First season at Leipzig, he was incredibly mid. I didn't really know what he was about. And then the second season, he wasn't that crazy good either. No. That's the second, when Timo Werner left. And then, and Nkunku kind of just came into his own. And he spent 4 years at Leipzig. That's so respectable. These young players just be leaving. Nkunku's 25. He has 2 trophies. He ain't some bum leaving to just go for money. I mean, he is going for money. And Chelsea aren't in the Champions League. You can look at it as a downgrade, but let's be honest here. Chelsea are going to be in the Champions League next year. They're probably going to be challenging for the Prem if Pochettino gets his tools in order. These guys are signing Casado. They already have Enzo Fernandez. That midfield is one of the best in the world. If everything clicks the way it's supposed to. And then they have everyone's laughing at them for signing all these Fofanas, but dog, they're good players. Yeah, Chelsea just had a lack of fortune. With Nkunku coming in, they're also signing this striker from Villarreal, who's apparently another good one. Their team and Pochettino's ability to create a dynamic unit, Chelsea might cook. You never know. They might cook. Todd Bowley and that crackhead energy he's on. Hey, sometimes it'd be the crackheads that be cooking. We'll see. We only sign hookers. Yeah, we're signing hookers. That's what we're doing. These Kyle Walkers, 33-year-old hoe, washed up. Yeah, she's been through everything. Or everything's been through her, really, if you think about it. And that's what we're signing. That's the kind of player we're thinking would work for Bayern now. We're not cooking, chat. We're not cooking. We're not eating. I don't know what we're doing. It's a bit of an L, man. It's an L. L's in the chat. 50+1 rule is killing you in your league. I don't think it's a 50+1 rule that's necessarily doing most of the damage. I think you need to amend 50+1. Like German fans just have this backwards. No, not backwards. That's disrespectful. They have this very old way of seeing. I don't know why they're so obsessed with 50+1. If you're a Newcastle fan, aren't you a little bit happy that your team is good again? Yeah, you don't want the oil money, but I mean, you might want it. Okay, you can question the ethics of the owner, but if their goal is to make your club good, then you have a common goal and a common interest, seeing your club do well. So I don't know why it's so damaging to think maybe let's allow some foreign investors into this league. Not just foreign investors, just billionaires, German billionaires. There's a German billionaire that's a huge fan of some German club, but he can never really get his hands on the club. And it would create thousands more jobs for him to gain access to that club because he would make the club a world-class institution. Okay, that word is super American. Yeah, like franchise. People don't like that. They don't like calling it a Bundesliga franchise. They hate that word franchise. So let's just stick with club and team. The fact that Germany doesn't have a capital city club is a big, giant shame. Berlin is the capital of Germany. Yeah, there's no team from Berlin that's cooking. You have Union Berlin, but they're not a world-class team. They're just a team that overperformed and found themselves in the Champions League. But they don't have the budget to keep that up. You have Hertha Berlin, who just got relegated but poured millions a few years ago. It's not just about money. It's about the idea and a strategy. I'm jealous of Italians because they have a variety. Rome is the capital of Italy, if I'm not mistaken. AS Roma. Big club. Wait, is Rome the capital of Italy? Imagine I can't get it wrong. I'm a genius, a biological genius. Like when I came out of the womb, I was calculating chess lines. Like if bishop goes here, then c4. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was a genius. So of course I'm right. I'm right. Right, chat? Am I right about that? Is Rome the capital of Italy? See, y'all are like, you're one of those Americans. That's stupid. But I'm one of the smart ones. The Italian league is worse. It's worse. They're broke. Nah, but the difference is at least that league is successful in terms of how many Champions Leagues and the recognition. I think more people know who AC Milan are because of their history than they know who Dortmund. Yeah. So yeah, they're broke because Italy as a country isn't one of the more successful Western nations, even though, uh, dude, you got to put kind of put things into perspective. Germany is way more westernized than Italy. Italy is still very much, like, let's say not everyone in Italy is packing like pounds or euros. I think Germany has more millionaires and billionaires, and the average quality of life in Germany is going to be better than Italy. Am I wrong? I might be wrong. Yeah. Your league is the communist socialist league. There's nothing wrong with that if you don't want to compete. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. It's very much no competition, no capitalism, no millionaires, no billionaires. That's why we're so hated in the league, because we're the one club that had all those things happen to us, dealt with the same hand as everyone else, yet we're one of the biggest clubs in the world because of the way we were run. Sadio Mané scored 2 goals. Are y'all? Are the Qataris not looking at this? Got a tweet. Is King Salman the Saudi Arabia king? That's the dude that was. Is he? Chat, tell me. I gotta tweet that. I'm tweeting that Sadio Mane is the best player of all time, and then I'm adding the king. All right, I'll just tweet it. Who cares if it's right? Yeah, he's the king of Saudi Arabia. That man just got cash. That King Salman. He just got that money lined up. Yo, Chad, is it true that they be getting people to go to, like, chicks to go to Saudi to get pooped on? Is that true? Traditional. Yeah, that's true. American geography at its finest. Was I wrong about Rome being the capital of Italy? Was I not cooking? Yeah, but what I was saying was Germany doesn't have a big capital city club. And that's a problem. Because if one of your most known cities doesn't have a team associated with it, then that's just odd. Munich is big, right? Big city. One of the biggest cities in the world. Like, well, no, one of the most well-known cities in the world. I'm sure it's in the top 50 of recognized cities, like names. You say Munich, Munich, Germany. I don't think people talk about Dortmund. Hey, I've been to Dortmund. Yeah, no one really talks about. But you talk about Munich, you talk about Berlin. So where's the big capital city club? If anything, Leipzig is becoming a more well-known city than Berlin because of the fact that RB Leipzig exists. If you ask football fans that play FIFA to name German cities, I'm sure Munich is going to be number one. And then it's going to be some of them might just say Borussia because they think Dortmund's in Borussia or Dortmund is Borussia. But let's say they say Dortmund. Leipzig's going to be up there now because they're just going to recognize the fact that there's a team. So, yeah, the Bundesliga is lacking. It's going behind. It's going backwards. And especially considering another English club on top of another one, right? Newcastle was the another club is going to be owned by foreign investors, particularly in the Middle East. So now you're going to have two Middle East families fighting each other. It's going to be crazy. And now you're going to have another one, Manchester United. So both Manchester clubs are going to be Habibi clubs, which that's okay. I mean, it's just, the way some of those countries treat their own people is a little bit crazy. Putting all this money into a foreign club doesn't do anything for your people. The Qataris, I'm sure, I mean, for them it makes sense, but let's be honest here, it doesn't help the people of Qatar. And these big cities they have, like Dubai, yeah, those are nice cities for tourists, but for the people that live there that are originally Saudi Arabians, of course, Dubai's not in Saudi Arabia. I'm just saying the big cities in all these countries. The UAE, that's where Dubai is. For the people that live there, their life is not as pleasant as it might look based on, I mean, some of them will have nice jobs, but the people that are enjoying Dubai aren't like citizens of the country. They're people from the outside world. Dubai is built for travelers. And these are the people that built all these places. These are the same people buying foreign clubs to pump wealth into some English club. Manchester City isn't creating crazy opportunities for the people that own them. Is it the Saudis or not? I think it's the UAE. Yeah, that family ain't really creating wealth for their people. The only jobs it's creating from people from Manchester, people that don't know how to speak English, because no one from Manchester knows how to speak English. So, yeah, I think I don't want to be a Habibi club. That's fine. You can be a Todd Bowley club. RB Leipzig should invest more money to win the Bundesliga and Champions League. That's hard. See, everyone has this thought that Red Bull is just pouring billions into Leipzig. I don't think people are actually adding full context. No, Red Bull is not putting that much money into Leipzig itself. Well, I mean, of course, the initial funding and everything was from Red Bull. But once you realize what they're actually doing is building a footballing infrastructure that will last generations, that sustains itself. Leipzig runs itself. They create, like at this point, they run themselves. They don't get money pumped into them. The Bundesliga doesn't allow that. They have to run themselves. What Leipzig have done very smart is get good players on a cheap and have the training ground, and also the fact that they play in the Champions League so regularly now. They give that, that's why they're more and more successful. But if you think Leipzig are going to win the Bundesliga next year, then, I mean, it depends on who they're replacing Kunku with. If Marco Rose is really going to keep the team consistent, if Jabozlé stays, because if they're replacing a bunch of players, then the new players they buy are going to need a whole year and maybe 2 years to really get into the rhythm. When Jabozlé came in, he wasn't cooking right away, but now he's cooking. And now everyone wants him. So it's going to be really tough for a team like Leipzig to actually preserve the status quo, I think. Yeah, Red Bull buys a club that already exists, like a small club. I guess they just don't have the time to create a new one. And then they change that club's name to Red Bull Salzburg, Red Bull Leipzig, but Rasenballsport Leipzig, because the Bundesliga does not allow teams to be named after a sponsor. which is interesting. Isn't that crazy? And then that team, so Leipzig was always the plan. I don't think Red Bull Manchester is ever going to exist, or Red Bull London. Maybe it might, who knows? But the plan was the Bundesliga is a top 5 league. It's also close to Austria, origins of Red Bull. And we already have an institution that speaks German. So the goal is funnel all these players from these sister clubs, have a hub in every continent. They're going to create a Red Bull at some point in Asia if the market becomes more football oriented, or in the Middle East even if the market also becomes more football oriented. And they're going to funnel these players to Leipzig. That's their ultimate plan. And those players are going to be sold for insane profits, which Red Bull gets to pocket because Red Bull owns the club. And the fans that make the decision behind the club, who are also Red Bull employees, the members are all Red Bull employees, they're going to be benefiting greatly from running their own club that they own. Oh, man. Why didn't Bayern do that? Imagine our club members are just Sebastian Hoeneß, Unai Hoeneß, like his whole family. And it's just Unai Hoeneß running the show for hundreds of years. Red Bull have 5 to 6 clubs. Yeah, you have Red Bull Brazil or Braganito or something like that. One of the top clubs in the Brazilian league. That club hasn't produced as many players as they wanted. Salzburg has produced a lot of players. Red Bull Brazil isn't doing much. I don't get why we obsess over generating huge profit margins. Like, what are we saving for? It's not like the CEO or chairperson takes the profit like a normal business. First of all, chair people and chief executive officers of companies don't take the profits. That's never really been the case in any. They get paid to run the company, but they don't, unless they have ownership stakes, unless they own the shares. The reason why Bayern wants to be profitable is because it looks good. Because it's certain, look, you're right that we're not a normal business. No one's making trillions off of us. There's no Elon Musk that's getting more money because he owns us. No one owns Bayern. The fans own a controlling share of the club. 70%. We do more than 50 plus 1. The fans own 70% of Bayern, the members. So Bayern isn't even like a business. It's more of an organization if you think about it. Think of it that way, like an organization that's for profit. Because the members don't get any money back. Wait, do they? Do club members get like a dividend? Quarterly dividends or yearly? Yeah, wow, I never thought of that. No, your membership's so cheap. It makes no sense. But the whole goal of Bayern as a club is to just remain a club for the fans, by the fans, forever. That's the goal, to be sustainable forever. Now, it just so happens that those fans think it's super important to have partners like Adidas, Audi, and Allianz. Allianz bought the naming rights to our stadium. It could have been the Bayern Stadium. That could have been the name of our stadium. But they bought the naming rights, so they pay us to put their name on our stadium, and it works for them because almost everyone in the world has heard of the name Allianz Arena. Well, not everyone in the world, but a lot of people in the world have heard Allianz Arena. And that everyone's going to, what's Allianz? Someone searches that and Allianz makes money from a potentially new customer. So that's, Bayern's run very, because we're not like a Man United where we know the owners are there for profit, or Arsenal where we know Stan Kroenke is super interested in his profits. Actually, even if you own a club, you're not making profit like that. People think these Glazers or Kroenke at Arsenal or any of the other billionaire owners of these clubs that own the club solely, like it's their club, they actually think these guys are making bank. They're not. especially if the club is in debt. Man United is in debt. What they're doing is they have an asset that the government can't really tax. These billionaires could just have cash. Some of them buy the clubs with full cash. Some of them borrow money and to buy the club, but they need to finance the deal. But if you're a billionaire and you have 50 billion in the bank, you don't want 50. Like, let's say you sold one of your companies for 20 billion, and let's say your shareholders took their billion and this billion, and now you're left with like 10 billion. $10 billion in cash is the worst thing you want to have. Because one, the US government's going to say, we want a little bit of that. You know what I'm saying? Let's fund another war and destabilize some part of the world again. The US government is going to want that money. But if you buy a football club, and if you're really smart, you buy it. You don't buy it with cash. You just finance it and then refinance your debt, pay it off. Like, there's so many loopholes. First of all, now you can, every expense your club gets is a business expense. So if it's actually kind of profitable sometimes to run the club at a loss. People always wonder, why does Twitch never make money? Why does YouTube for Google never report a profit? Of course, these companies are probably making a lot of money, but if they operate at a loss, the government can't. They write it off, and sometimes the government pays them money. But yeah, if you operate at a loss, you don't pay taxes. Everyone thinks these billionaires are paying billions in taxes because these billionaires are broke. They borrow money from themselves. It's crazy. Oh man. And everything is a business expense. They buy a private jet, they write it off, and the government's like, oh, that's part of their business. Now they can't get tax on the money they bought the jet for. And then they write off the jet fuel and the pilot's salary, and it's all a write-off. So I think, how do we get to this point in the conversation? I mean, the show started with Lucas Hernandez being roasted for being a snake. And now we're talking about business structures, how LLCs work and corporations, how they tax, how football owners get away with taxation. But Bayern as an institution, a financial institution, a business institution, is less like a company that's publicly traded, that's owned by majority shareholder, and more like a profitable organization with lots of regulation, with a government entity that could effectively say you're getting shut down and it's done. That government entity isn't the German government, it's the Bundesliga, the league organization that manages all the clubs and makes sure they're following rules. So we're an organization, less like a company. Yeah, I don't know. Madrid are the same way, owned by fans. Florentino Perez, I'm sure he gets paid. He gets paid a salary. Oliver Kahn made a salary. He wasn't getting paid part of the profits. But to answer the earlier question, why Bayern want to make a profit, it's to build the strength of the organization, keep it sustainable. And if we made $1 in profit, everything runs fine. Also, it's to expand your operation, because if you made $5 million in profit, you can use that $5 million. Well, first you got to pay taxes, but you can literally use the $5 million and do something else. You can create a partnership with some South American clubs, and now you have a business relationship. You can buy part of their debt. Now it's not. Now you see what I mean? That's why the profit's nice, because we can do other things and expand our brand. We can market. We can spend that money and not have to worry about, we're spending operation money. Every year, Bayern have a budget of how much money we can spend with an estimate of how much money we can make. And usually they're hoping that the money we spend is substantially outweighed by the money we bring in. That's called profit margin. So if we can spend right under break even, so we're not even breaking even, we're making profit. That's Bayern's goal. So that's why we can't spend 200 million on a player, because that blows the budget in that season, in that year, out of proportion. But that's why we also have the ability to make decisions like spending 80 million on a center back or 70 million, because we have those balanced books. Clubs you have to balance out your books. And maybe you can get a nice little, you can go in debt, like Barcelona is going into debt, and just finance a bunch of transfers. But then, you get in big problems, because if you can't pay off that debt, that means you have to sell assets. You got to sell like your imaging rights. And now someone can sell your image rights because they buy the image rights and they profit off of them. They can sell it to another company that you're not keen on. So that's the danger of the footballing operation as a whole. That's why Barcelona, it's going to take them a while to recover. I mean, yeah, they're doing good at they're still a global image, so it's easier to kind of market themselves. And they think by winning trophies, they get a bunch of earnings, and they can kind of start balancing out their budget, which will, by the way, increase their credit, which means they can borrow more money. And what they could do is go to better, like they could get a better interest rate, refinance the debt they own, so clear out their debt from the other companies, and now they're paying a different bank, a different financial institution, the same money they owed, but with a better interest rate, which means over time they pay less money because their credit was better from winning trophies. Well, not their credit. You don't get better credit from winning trophies, but it shows the world, like winning a trophy shows everyone that, hey, all right, we're not going bust. We just won La Liga. Oh, we're in the Champions League finals. We're not going bust. And we're going to make a big chunk of profit. Not profit, but big chunk of earnings, revenue from playing and just participating in the latter stages of these competitions. So that was Barcelona's strategy to balance the club out. And it's kind of working because they just won La Liga. And once they clear out their wage structure, a lot of players are probably going to take pay cuts their next times they get contracts. Then they might actually survive in the long term. So football is it's almost like running a country, if you think about it. You have citizens, fans, and maybe we should use members. Yeah, clubs like us, clubs that are owned by fans, the members, we are basically, in a way, run like, I forgot the analogy I was using. Wait, we still have our 5% share unsold. That's not true. That's not true at all. Let's buy Barca's image rights. You know what's funny? We could actually do that. You could create a company that operates on Bayern's behalf, and we just be like a what's the word for this? Like a venture company, a VC, venture capitalist. Or no, that's not what VC stands for. And we could buy things. I mean, Bayern does have that. We have Bayern as a club is registered as a club, but we also have an extension of Bayern that's where most of the profit probably goes, and all this profit goes into funding that company, and that company is responsible for acquiring some South American countries' debt so that we can own a share of the club and effectively control a lot of the operations in the club. That is not Bayern's official business as a club, but we own a corporation that does that, and we lend money to that. Technically, we write it off as, I don't know how Germany's tax structure works, but I'm sure Bayern ain't paying that much in taxes. Players are paying a lot in taxes, right? Yeah, sure. But the club itself is lending its money, so its profits, to a company that's also owned by Bayern, but it's structured weird, so that we can use that money to buy clubs and then write it off as a business expense. Like we're smart, man. We're very smart. Well run as a club, and it is what it is. Lucas Hernandez is a snake. That's what I'm going to end the stream saying. All right. It was a good show. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hit the like button if you haven't. Hitting them likes gets the channel cooking. I don't think we have a 5% share that's unsold. I'm going to live in Dubai, and I don't have to pay taxes. I don't know how. I don't think that's how it works, my G. I don't know. I mean, can you even? Well, first of all, if you live abroad as an American, you probably still have to pay taxes to the American government because you do have an American passport. Yeah. I mean, I guess the idea is that America kind of has to guarantee your entry into that country with your passport. So in a way, you exist in that country because of America, because of America's treaty and agreement with that country that you are in there. Go to Texas then to not pay taxes. He's not American. Eunice is, I don't know where he's at. But if he's British, then you're probably going to pay money to the British government. Yeah. We don't have 5%, 75% earned by what? Oh, yeah. There you go. Okay, yeah. So we don't have 5% to sell. 75% of the club is owned by the members, and then Adidas, Allianz, and Audi each own 8.33%, which adds up to 25% if you add it up, because 25 divided by 3 is 8.33, and that's how the club structure is. If I make $200 a month, will I be able to afford a Lambo in Dubai? I don't think you'll be able to afford a hotel in Dubai. You can live permanently in Monaco, and you don't have to and have no taxes. But when you retire, you will have no money. Interesting. Y'all are tax evaders, man. I just know some of y'all ain't paying your taxes. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Mia, send Mia, and peace. Oh, you don't live in Monaco just permanently. Oh, you're Dutch? Yeah, European countries have some extremely invasive tax structures. You're paying half your money to the government, and the government's not doing much for you. Yeah, that's crazy.